Time for baritone class. Yay. Let's get this done. Let me go post the link over on the website. Website is, I'm really blurry today. I'm going to have to check this camera tomorrow. JollyRogerUkulele.com. This is the baritone class. And I am officially 3 minutes late getting it set up. So we'll be a little bit late. Luckily, we have beautiful music worth hanging around for today. Edit, open, update, and update. Okay, so that should get everybody in here. First couple of people in will tell me if the sound is good, and we are getting ready to do really where we're at in the learning process of baritone is that some of the people are newer players, just learning the instrument. Some of the people have been pretty good, right, learning it. And this, as far as I know, is about the only place where baritone ukulele is being taken, at this level. And so what we're going to be doing is sort of a combined class these days where we have the beginner stuff and then the next level stuff. And then, of course, over time, we will be publishing the top level stuff. Right now, we're working on stuff that sounds beautiful and isn't terribly hard to play. So we'll just keep moving forward with that. And I am running a little late today because of some stuff I had to take care of real fast. Got it done. We're in good shape. Everything's back to normal. So Linda's here. Linda is taking all of my classes these days, and she's probably getting sick of hearing me. And let's see, I'm going to go to my library here and start pulling up my baritone stuff. Today we're playing, I just typed it. We're playing dun, 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 dun. Brahms Lullaby today. We're also going to play Danny Boy and Santa Lucia. I want to make sure I have Santa Lucia. I feel like I downloaded it yesterday, but I didn't. Did we not do Santa Lucia yesterday? Surely we did. We didn't. Okay, so I got to download that real quick while you guys are logging in, get set up. How is that possible? Maybe I played it off of the screen. That's what I probably did. So I'll be loading, taking just a minute, taking one more minute of your time to get my book in order here. Jolly Roger songs, local storage, download baritone. Do I really not have Santa Lucia in here? I really don't. Okay. Back to the cloud. Let's go grab Santa Lucia. So we're playing Santa Lucia, sorry. Melissa from the earlier class said she talked to her daughter who lives in Italy at Santa Lucia. And then Danny Boy, which is an amazing piece of music. And okay, now I download that. All right, so now let me go make sure that I ended up where it's supposed to end up. Okay. Storage. Go here. Baritone. So we're playing Danny Boy, which I have. And then we are playing Santa Lucia. Baritone. I put the word baritone at the end of all of my file names because they get mixed up with the ukulele stuff. Oh, that's what downloaded. I don't need that here. Okay. All right. So I think I'm back in business, guys. Sorry. So today, Brahms Lullaby, one of the great songs of all time, and Danny Boy, one of the great songs of all time, and Santa Lucia, a really, really good song. How about that? So we're going to be playing some nice music today. You guys have your baritones. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. D, G, B, E, right? Great songs today. Sound is good. Yeah, we do have really, really nice songs this week. Hey, Nicolina, Lanny's here already. ready for the baritone. And Santa Lucia, Jack is in. Baritone aficionados, I like that. Cindy's here, Terry's here. Ray has made it in today. Figuring out how to put music up on the computer and see you also, right? Yeah. So a lot of time, yeah, that's something I should probably talk about once in a while. If you have a real computer, you can put me up over in a little tiny box over here and open up a second window and put your sheet music right here, and or vice versa, whatever. But that's a lot of times a little bit easier. You don't really need to see me, right? You're really needing to listen to for wherever I am in the song. So seeing me is less important than just playing along. All right, so we're pulling into Baritone Town. We are pulling up Brahms Lullaby. We're going to do that first. Those of you guys that are newer, this is continuing on with that idea that there's lots of ways to play music and lots of different pieces and parts we want to put together as musicians so that we have complete control over our instrument. And as you guys know, a huge fan of baritone. Ukulele, I'm clearly that's my thing, and then baritone's right underneath that, guitar's right underneath that, and then all other musical instruments are a little bit down below that. I guess I'm kind of keen on harmonica these days, but you guys know that I put in a ton of energy into ukulele because back when I started, nobody was playing it. It was like weird, and I realized once I got my hands on it, I really started to understand what it was. That this is important and because it allows you to play either hard stuff, easy stuff, your level, somebody else's level, in a group, not in a group. And so that's what we're working on, is just getting you super comfortable with all of the parts as pieces and parts of music, and then putting it onto this really quite pleasant instrument. All right, so Valerie made it in and Arlo made it in. Nice, how exciting. All right, so we got everybody here. Let's get going. Brahms Lullaby, one of the world's all-time great pieces of music. You are playing legit classical music. This isn't dumbed down in any way. This is the real deal here. And what Brahms said was, I don't know what key the original was in, but for today, it's in G. Okay? And so you got to know that chord. Next chord that comes up, lullaby and good night with roses B. And you got to get to D7. Okay. Let's see, lead with your index finger, middle finger adds on, and then your ring finger just drags back into the 2. Died with lilies be spread, his babies we, and then just slide this forward. Bed, lay you. Now in the C chord, you got to go index and middle. As you are releasing your ring finger, lay you down now, and then to get back to G, rest. May your D7 slumbers be blessed. Lay you down now and rest. May your slumbers be blessed. Okay, when you're learning a song, almost always when I'm learning a new song that somebody else has written out, the first thing I want to know is the melody, is it playable? But the second thing I need to know is what kind of chords am I going to be dealing with? And in this case, these are all sort of standard issue chords. You got a G, you got a C, and you got a D7. Those are going to come up every single day you play baritone. And so the thing I'm working on is, hey, what moments am I going to have to jump around and do something crazy? And so I know I got it. And so I will, a lot of times I won't even necessarily strum. I will just sing this song, lullaby and good night with roses be, and then I got to be ready. Died with lilies be spread, his babies weep. And that way I'm just teaching my hand how to move from one chord to the next. It's important in the sense that a lot of times as newer players, we have a tendency to be like, lullaby and good night with roses be. And then we have this tragedy of changing to the next chord. Die with lilies be spread, his babies weep. Bed, right? And so you're late coming into that first chord every time there's a chord switch. And so don't be that person. Play one strum per measure, in this case, lullaby, and I'm looking right immediately to the next chord to see if I'm going to have to change. I don't, I'm good. Good and good night with, don't have to change again, roses. Now, once I say roses, I'm thinking, all right, I got to get working on changing so that I get my D7 on by the time I'm on beat 1 of the next measures. That way I'm not late. Okay. You don't need to strum all through the whole measure. So always be reading at least one chord ahead so that whatever chord you're on, you don't fall asleep on. You're ready to move on to that next chord. Okay, let's play the whole song. Those of you who have been around a while, okay, you know the drill. Those of you who are brand new, nice strum pattern. With ukulele, we always tell you to strum up here. On baritone, the same thing applies, but it feels a little weird. It feels like it's kind of up here a little bit, so you may end up strumming above the hole on these guys. Depends on what feels best for you. 1, 2, lullaby and good night. With roses be dyed, with lilies be spread, his babies weaving. Lay you down now and rest. May your slumbers be blessed. Lay you down now and rest. May your slumbers be blessed. One more time. Lullaby and good night. With roses be dyed, with lilies be spread. His babies weaving. Lay you down now and rest. May your slumbers be blessed. Lay you down now and rest. May your slumbers be blessed. Okay, pretty. So 2 different ways of strumming on this, but you are going to build a complete repertoire for yourself. Sometimes you strum, sometimes you pluck and strum. Sometimes we arpeggiate. That's what I was doing that time. Thumb, index, middle, thumb, index, middle. But always being mindful that when you are singing and strumming or when you are playing chords, you got a lot of choices over here and you want to get where you're pretty good at all of them. Next is melody. Let's go through this. If you've been around a while, this shouldn't be complicated. If there's a 0, play nothing. If there's a 1, you play there. If there's a 2, you play your middle finger. And if it's a 3, you play your ring finger. That's all the notes that there are. So index, middle, and ring, 1, 2, and 3. And just got to get it on the right string and pluck that string at the right time. 1, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0, 3, 0, 3, other 3, 3, 2, 0, 0, 3, 2, 0, 1, 2, 2, 0, 1, 2. 2, 0, 3, 2, 3, 0, 0, 3, 0, 1, 3, 0, 0, 1, 3, 0, 3, 0, 0, 3, 0, 1, 3, 0, 1, 0, 2. And then we would repeat the whole song. Okay, second time you came through, you don't play 16, you jump over and play 17. Okay, so that's the melody. Most everybody knows that melody, most everybody. Okay, and then finally, tough axe, okay, or tough uke. That's what, if you are new here, this is where your energy is now. This is what this week is about, is getting where you can combine the chord and the melody together. Let's walk through it, and then we'll play it. So first thing is the 2 zeros. And then you got 0, 0, 3, so strum that. Making sure you rest stroke. That's the key here, is we got to rest stroke properly on that first string. It's hanging out like it's on a hammock. And then a couple of zeros. 0, 0, 3 again. Now you got 0, 3. And then you got a full G chord, 0, 0, 0, 3. Grab the 2, get the 0. You got this D7. Go ahead and put the whole D7 on, but you see there's a 0 on the top string, so that means you're going to lift your ring finger up to play 0, 2, 1, 0. And then then your ring finger will now jump up and grab the 3. 2 you're already holding down, so pluck that. And then you're going to lift up your ring and your index finger to get that second string open. And now put your index finger back down. Hit the 2. 2-0. Index finger up. And put it back down. 2-1. Got a real D7 chord here. 0, 2, 1, 2. Lift up your ring finger to play the 0. Go grab the 3. Bring down your middle finger to hit the 2. And then a nice C stress, G chord here. Hit the 2 zeros. C chord, pinky. I know it seems like you got to use your ring finger here, but it's too much of a stretch. So use your pinky on the 3 of the first string. So 2, 0, 1, and 3. Okay, play that. That's going to come up a lot, guys. 01, 003, 00, D7 shape, ring finger, open string, 003, 2 zeros, C chord, pinky on top, 01, 003, 00, D7, index finger up, hit the 2, and then the 2 zeros. Let's go from the top. 1, 2. One more time. Second ending. Okay. That is straight up as pure and clean of a piece in terms of playing it in a chord melody piece as I can imagine. You got all 3 of the main chords in that key. You have lots of opportunity to do partial chords, complete chords, a little bit of left-hand motion to get all of your notes and melody happening at the right place, but still able to carry through those beautiful chords. Every single measure has a chord that's going to pull through for the rest of the measure, and it sounds just positively lovely. So that's what you guys that are newer are working on. If you're brand new, obviously the important one is melody. That's the important one, okay? But if you're also working on, hey, I want to play tough uke, because that's how adults want to play acoustic music. We want to play the chords and the melody at the same time, just us, and where people sit enraptured at our amazing musicianship. And this is the way we do it, right? This is how we get started. Linda saying, yeah, this is really pretty on baritone. It's crazy pretty, right? Because this string is just basically ringing through every single measure, just kind of keeping the harmonics together. It sounds really beautiful. Next level players, guys, probably you've already done this, but if you didn't, I'm doing is the same exact thing as I was doing with my thumb, except now I'm using all 4 fingers and making sure that wherever the melody note is I'm plucking that string with a little bit more verve, okay, to make sure that it comes out clean so that you can always hear the melody in between here. And then, of course, long term, for those of you who really want a job on your hand, this isn't a great song to do it with, but you can do it as finger style. So be adding in that stuff. So that's for those of you guys that are advanced, okay? Always be on the lookout when you're playing in claw position. That should, as you reach the end of your process of becoming a musician, more and more and more you're going to be playing in this position so that you can start adding in decoration notes whenever you possibly can. Okay, so Brahms Lullaby, those of you who are newer, that's plenty, okay? But those of you guys who have been around a while, we want to knock out some of the harder stuff. Let's go grab Santa Lucia. Today is our day to make this a thing. And where did I put it? Storage, download, Baritone, turn the page, Santa Lucia. All right, so Santa Lucia, and it's Lucia, not Lucia, Santa Lucia. Let's run through the chords, make sure that everything's making sense for us. We'll just play through. Remember, if you're new to song and you're just learning it, strum once, get your next chord on and be ready on the first beat. 1, 2, 3. Now neath the silvery moon, calm seas are glittering, sweet winds and gentle waves caress my sailboat, full sail with breezes fair. They soothe my woes and care. Come sail with me today, off to Napoli. Oh, how the sailors cry, joyously echoes nigh, Santa Lucia, Santa Lucia. Oh, how the sailors cry, joyously echoes nigh, Santa Lucia, Santa, notice the fermata, and then go, Lucia. Okay, that's how the song goes. Obviously, you go back and repeat it. When you hit the measure 32, you go back to the beginning, play the whole thing again, skip 32 the second time through, and play 33. The fermata in the middle of measure 31, that's that eyeball-looking thing. That means, hey, it's a bigger, a little bit more dramatic pause that's going to happen in there. And if you're playing on your own, you get to decide how long that fermata is. If you're playing with me as your conductor, then I get to decide. So whoever the leader of the band is gets to decide how long a fermata lasts. Okay, Michelina. When I'm playing claw style, I tend to rest my fingers on the strings. I am not plugging. Should I be avoiding this? So Michelina's question is an important one. Okay, so I'm busy plugging away, and I have this tendency to kind of keep them hanging out here. If I'm plugging these ones, I'm sort of leaving these here. Generally speaking, Michelina, and this is a very huge generalization, generally we want to avoid that. Okay. Generally, we want the strings to just be hanging out doing their thing. However, there are plenty of times when it sounds better to shut some strings up while you play some of the others. It's going to depend on the situation, all that. I think what your real question is I think I'm developing a bad habit. Is that going to be a problem down the road? I think the fact that you're aware of it is the important part. Sometimes I let my fingers hang out on the strings, sometimes not. And I hope that I'm consciously aware of when I do that. But generally speaking, no, we generally don't want our hands hanging out, our fingers touching the strings, unless there's a reason for them to be touching it. So if we are touching it to pluck it, that's good. If we are touching it because we don't want it to ring, that's fine. If we're touching it because our hand is lazy and it's just hanging out there on top doing whatever, then that's not good. Okay. So as long as you are consciously aware, these strings are hanging out on the strings, my fingers are hanging out on the strings on purpose, then it's okay. My fingers are not hanging out on the strings because it's probably better. Okay. And so when I play through this, let's take a look and see if my fingers are hanging out on the strings at all. I'm betting they will not be. Okay. All right. So you know your chords. These chords are not super hard, but there's plenty of them, right? There's quite a number. They keep coming at you. Okay. Let's play the melody. 1, 2, 3. Sorry. Hold that, give it a little wiggle for vibrato, back to 5. Okay, so a couple important moments there. That fermata Santa 7. When you hit a 7 and it's a fermata or a half note or a long note, just wiggle. I don't know if you can hear that, but on mine it's pretty clear, right? Wah, 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 wah. You know, all I'm doing is just wiggling my finger back and forth. Usually it's easier with a ring, right? It's just because your ring's not going to fight you on that. Just wiggling it back and forth, not pushing the string, not doing anything extra, just wiggling a little bit. That gets you the vibrato that we're looking for. It's Santa Lucia. Okay. The other one, in measures 29 and also in measure 21, you have this 7, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 1, 5, 5. That's going to show up twice. What I do is I hold that 7, 7, and then I hold both 3s at the same time. 3, 3, 3, 3, 0. That way I don't have to move anything. That's a kind of a fast moment in the song where you're kind of spread apart, kind of moving fast. So you want to have a smart plan. And 7, 3, 3, 3, 3, 0, 1, 5, 5. And again, that's quite a stretch there. So having a good plan through that difficult section in the song and really working on it so that you could cruise through that without a big deal is important. All right, so that's your melody. So then let's run through and play the tough uke. Okay, tough uke here is get your head in the right place. especially those of you guys who've been around a while, a lot of times you're like, notes, 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 no, notes, 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 notes. No. You're in Italy. You're in Venice. You are on an all expense paid trip by Jeff Bezos. Was really happy with all of the things that you bought from Amazon over the last 10 years. And he's sent you a plane ticket, says, go to Venice on me. And you're like, all right, sweet. I don't have to spend any money. I'll go to Venice. The sun is setting. Not quite set, right? A dark, kind of dark blue, maybe with a little bit of pink above it, going up into blackness, right? And you are in Venice, and it's the evening. You've just had a bottle of wine. You're with your sweetheart. You decide, you know what? Let's go on a gondola ride. We're going to get in this little boat. The waves are just. If you've ever had dinner in Italy, you know what I'm talking about. It's just better. Nobody knows why, but if you can have the exact same pasta dish in the United States or the same pasta dish in Italy, and it's just better there. I don't know why. You've been on the sitting on the little patio, right, with the little chairs and all that stuff, and you think, let's go for a gondola ride. That's what you're trying to play here. The notes, well, whatever, the notes are the notes, but you're trying to play that scene where you're just trying, been there, done that. Jack's like, yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So that's what you're playing right now. Okay. Give it all that kind of love, get that Italian flavor, that just beautiful rocking of the boat, and see if you can get it done. Jack's like, yeah, did that. He knows what I'm talking about. You guys, most of you guys know what I'm talking about. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Whoops. To the top, one last time through. This is our big moment. Ding-a-ding-ding. That's Italy, right? Sounds beautiful. Hopefully that song's going to come together for you. Really just a really beautiful melody, very repetitive, right? You play the first part, then you play the first part again, then you play the second part, then you play the second part again. So you've only got to learn a little bit of the music. You got to learn it in 16 bars and you get 32 bars out of it. So that's kind of nice. Really pretty song. I like that one a lot. All right. How are we doing on time? 2:39. 2:39. We got 12 minutes to tackle Danny Boy. Okay. And Danny Boy we went over earlier this week. So you should have that in pretty well in hand. So let's go take a look at Danny Boy. I don't know who told me about Santa Lucia. I don't know Lucia, where I learned that from. But ever since I ran into it, I'm like, oh, well, I want to do that song on every instrument. It's really beautiful. I haven't put it on harmonica yet, but I'm gonna. Right? Beautiful. All right, Danny Boy. Same thing. Really beautiful music. Just really take your time through this one. Don't be in a big rush with it. This one's actually super. Whereas Santa Lucia is just like bursting with joy, right? And those of you guys who've been to Italy, you know it's impossible to have a bad time in Italy. It's just really impossible. And when you go to Ireland, it's impossible to have a good time, right? Everything's just sad. That's not true. Last time I was only in Ireland for a couple of days one time, and my favorite story, I'll tell you this. We checked into the little bed breakfast type hotel, and we were in Dublin, and it was lovely, and everything's a little bit shorter, a little bit cuter than you think it should be. And we got talking. We came back one night. We were talking to the guy sitting at the desk, and couldn't have been cuter. He says, well, I'm from a small town on the west side of Ireland, and he says, I came to college here in Dublin, and so I've been working my way through this. And he says, so you're from, he says, oh yeah, I was in New York City one time. It was the worst experience of my life. It was just so crazy there. And I said, well, how's Dublin treating you? He goes, well, it's a pretty big town. I mean, Dublin is not a big town. I mean, it was just cute. Like, well, I'm really from the farm. I'm going here because I have to be here, but it's so crazy. So, yeah, very cute. Danny Boy is also try to see if you can put yourself in Ireland. You're walking on the peat, right? I don't have an Irish accent, so I don't know how to do one. But if you could, do it, right? We played this one earlier this week. This is quite a bit harder song than that one. Just be aware you've got the 12 coming up. Okay. And when we have these real high ones, I always look around to see if there's a chord I can use to kind of cover it up and help it, where you can make it sound nice. Unfortunately, there isn't a C chord hanging around up here that's very convenient. It's this way over here, and just isn't going to work, right? So when you see a naked 12 or a naked 10, you want to really get on clean. Then I'll be here when sun shines o'er in, and then you can use those cover chord to kind of cover up your overall tonality. I'd say when you see numbers way up the neck, those notes are very important to get clean, and it's very hard to get them clean. So when you see measure 13 rolling up, you're like, okay, this is my moment, And I would say probably if I were going to be presenting this to an audience, I'd probably just go ahead and memorize 10, 12, 10, 10, 8, 5, 8, right? And then I'm down to my C chord again. The 12 sounds lovely on my Ohana. Of course it does. That's a great baritone. Sounds pretty good on this one. Okay, right? And that's, again, the nice part about baritone is you can buy a pretty decent one for about $250, but for about $350, you can get a really fine piece of instrument. And they're just not as expensive as some of the other ones. And especially when you play other instruments and you're like, you mean for $350 I can get this unbelievable instrument that's kind of fun to play and I can just enjoy making music? Yeah, count me in. Okay. All right. 3 different ways to play. You guys know what they are. Some of you will be strumming or plucking, hopefully. Oh, Danny boy, oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. So hopefully some of you are doing that, right? If you sing, you might want to be thinking about that. And again, singers, as often as possible, working in your arpeggio patterns to see if you can do those. Next thing is some of you will just play straight melody if you're newer. Beautiful. Absolutely. Again, when you're playing straight melody, your goal is to be fast, but also to be clean. And so those sort of fight against each other. Bought your Pono for $200 during an auction. Yeah, that's a good deal. Back in the day, Ponos were the upper end brand. When I bought my first ukulele, my choices were Ponos. For the upper end ones, and I was like, I'm not buying one of those because they weighed about 50 pounds back in those days. They weren't better, but they weren't great. And at the time, there was a company called Bushman putting out some that were really pretty nice ukuleles, and so I bought my first one was a Bushman, and then it turned out the guy that ran the company was a mess, and he ended up with all sorts of bad reviews and stuff. And so Bushman didn't stay. I don't know if they're still around or not, but I know that I certainly have one and I don't recommend it. The new Ponos I would bet are much better. Yeah, I would, back when I started, and guys, you got to understand, back when I started, there was nobody playing ukulele. There was not a thing. It was before YouTube. Nobody was playing any of this stuff. If you played anything, you played guitar. And, nobody was playing this stuff, so it made sense that Pono, well, we'll make some ukuleles, but they were not, and they were definitely not a thing, And so, and Jack says, "Yep, I'm down. My Ponos are great." So, yep, he'd recommend them. So, yeah, times have changed for sure. I haven't played one in a long time, but I bet you, it's way better than the ones back in the early 2000s. Okay. Doesn't seem like that's that long ago. You can tell you're old when you're like 2000. That was like last week. All right, here we go. We're gonna do one beat count in, just one, and then we gotta go. And if you're playing tough uke, play tough uke. If you're playing melody, play melody. If you're a chord person, do that. Let's make this. Let's go to Ireland. Ready? 1. Whoops, sorry guys. Second inning. There we go. Nice. Rock and roll. Yay. Go, Danny. Questions, comments, concerns? Otherwise, Jack says go out and get a Pono. I don't even know if they sell them around in the neighborhood anymore. You probably have to get them online. Everything is online. Love this, right, Cindy? So I think those of you guys that have been around a little bit longer, or either are starting to think about, hey, what is my future as a baritone player, guys? What I'm doing is taking the ukulele stuff and just changing the key and giving you essentially the same fingering patterns that they have, because the stuff works, right? But you're in a different key than them. If you decide, hey, I want to start playing some stuff with other players, then we have to look a little more carefully at what you're going to end up playing, whether you're going to be the high voice or the low voice and so on. But for solo work, this thing works out every bit as well as an ukulele. It gives you a much different feeling to it, a very beautiful and buttery sound overall, I would say. So I think hopefully you're finding it meaningful to be working on this stuff. And what about adapting guitar music for baritone? So Cindy's question is a common one. If you can find a guitar tablature and the melody does not go onto the fifth or sixth string, you can straight up play guitar tablature. Like, you could go over to the Denver Guitar Orchestra website and look at the sheet music on there. There's a page. I have levels 1, 2, and 3 on there. You can pull those up. You can pretty much play them as is, right? So my attitude when I'm arranging for guitar is the same as ukulele or baritone. It's that I want it to be playable. I want it in the best key for that instrument. Over there, though, of course, I don't care about ukulele players. I just care about guitar players. And so it's going to be the best key for the instrument. And most of those, very rarely does a melody note go onto the fifth string. And so you can straight up just play it, but you have to get used to ignoring the bottom two strings of the tablature. And when we talk about it, you're just sitting here being very smart and very proud of ourselves. You think, oh, I just ignore those bottom two strings. You will find it tends to be a little bit of a brain aneurysm as you're trying to ignore those bottom two strings, because we're so used to starting our strum going down that we have this tendency to want to include that low string in there, and you have to ignore that they exist. And in guitar, especially chord melody or fingerstyle, we're going to have a lot of notes on the fifth and sixth string, bringing in the chords, creating the bass feeling for the song. And so you just got to remember the top 4 lines of the guitar tablature. Those are for you. And you can go grab any tablature you want. I will tell you, and Arlo is here, so sometimes I feel like maybe I have to be careful what I say, because Arlo knows guitar inside and out. But I think Arlo would generally agree with me. And he's not a huge tab player on guitar, but what I can tell you is most guitar tabs that you're going to find laying around on the internet are horrible. They are absolutely terrible, because guitar players who are tab players tend not to have as much musical background as they should, and so they make all these weird assumptions about what goes together and what doesn't. And most guitar tabs that you see laying around on the internet are going to be the way that particular guy plays the song, and it may or may not be the best way for you to play the song. And so their tabs tend to be very specific to a particular person, and then they're like, well, here, you can try it, and then you can't do it, and they're like, haha, see, you couldn't do it, I'm a better guitar player than you. And so Arlo says, "Yeah, I tend to do my own." Yeah, I do think. I think you can go find guitar tabs, give them a try, see what you think. I think you'll be better off hanging out with me and my tabs. Let's put it that way. Love the sound of the baritone, also as a solo instrument. I think it's wonderful. I think you get all of the not quite all the depth of guitar. You're definitely missing some of the bass and some of the bigness of the sound. But in terms of just sitting down and enjoying making music, try to beat this thing. You know, it's really quite lovely. This is the best deal to get. 6 nights. Yay! Good for you, Linda. Yeah. There we go. So see, there we go. We all agree we're the best. All right. Can we play Santa Lucia with uke and baritone using your sheets? Yes. Yes, you can. I've got both. I've got both. If you want to play them together, I would say if you're going to have two people like you and Clay are going to play together, Linda, I would probably, if you're going to play baritone, you play the melody on baritone and then give Clay the chords. The baritone chords, he's going to have to switch those in his head. So instead of C being this one, it's this one, right? So probably as newer musicians, it's much easier for you to fix the chords than it is to go through and fix the whole tablature. So that would be my suggestion. Yeah. So Arlo says, Arlo does a lot of his work by ear. I think the only caveat I will mention about that, when you playing by ear is not something that you can just do. Okay. It takes many years of getting pretty good at it. And so some of you will be better at it than others. Sitting down and picking out a melody by ear can be quite a time consuming method. Arlo can do it because he's been doing this a long, long time and he's very good at it. But I can tell you, I almost never do that. And I've been at this a long time too. It just is quite a bit harder. But if you have a good ear, you can absolutely pick some of this stuff out. And usually you're getting a good ear takes a lot of playing before you can do that. So just be mindful of that. Terry says, I agree on guitar tab, by the way. I did better learning from the standard notation and figuring it out myself when I play guitar. Yeah, like I say, it's not like even the stuff you buy in the store, there's guitar tabs on there. And I don't know. I know what I'm doing and I read that stuff. And sometimes I'm like, what are they doing? They're making it harder. And so my goal of the stuff I give you is I want you to be able to play it relatively quickly at, if you've done the intro class, I want you to be able to play everything. And I think, and obviously my tabs are just one version of one idea of it. And you should be able to then take it and adjust it in whatever way you want it. But I want you to be able to play it. That's what I want you to be able to do. And then I want those of you with more knowledge and more experience to be able to fancy it up a little bit. And whereas I do think the guitar tabs that I find, sometimes I get in a hurry. I'm like, I'll just go grab some of these tabs off the internet and I pull, and I'll waste 2 hours looking through everybody's tabs and still end up having to do it myself. So, yeah. So just be mindful as you venture off into uncharted territories that there is definitely some considerations. So that's that. All right. And plus, let's be honest, you got enough music. There's 100 and some songs on the guitar site, and there's 150 some on the ukulele site. So, and another, 40 on the harmonica site. You guys got plenty of sheet music. You don't need to go wander off looking for something else. Play that stuff. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. Thanks for everything. It's delightful to have all of you here. This baritone thing is going to be a thing, and we're growing. You actually are getting more baritone players right now than we've been getting into the intro ukulele class, which is weird. But thank you for being here, and we're going to keep this going until we get until baritone takes over. Okay, so. Keep showing up. I'll see you guys guitar class is next, and then the rest of you guys I'll see tomorrow, and that's it. Ray, good to see you. Valerie, you're welcome. Lanny has big hands. He's played tenor ukulele forever. He's really good, like super good. Like some of the stuff he does, I now teach. But he's figured out his giant hands. try an instrument. Baritone might be kind of fun. Sounds cool. Good for you, Lanny. Appreciate you being here, man. Jack, good to see you, bud. Mahalo to you. Cindy, woohoo. All right. I'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.